Let's go, Clarkey. How's it going today, buddy?
Woo! Let's go. Playoff week, baby. Let's go. How you doing? How you doing?
I'm feeling great here for a Sunday night preview and regular season recap here. We'll talk a bit about the regular season, but I think we all know what this show is about. We want to talk about the road to the Stanley Cup for the Toronto Maple Leafs.
Yeah, it's gonna be a road, that's for sure. It's probably not gonna be a straight, smooth road either. So let's get into it. We got a lot to talk about tonight.
Yeah, we do. And everyone out there, make sure you smash the like button and hit the notification bell, especially if you're new to the channel. Make sure you're checking out other content on this channel.
Smash that like button.
So this season, the Toronto Maple Leafs, it was a fantastic season. It was really fun to watch. There's the real ups and there's some real downs, like there is with every NHL season. Toronto Maple Leafs won their first division title since 1999-2000 season, and they finished the regular season in sixth place with a record of 35-14-7. And that sixth place in the overall standings, that's going to have some serious implications come playoff time.
Yeah, I didn't really consider that re-weighting, but right before the show we were talking, and it just kind of hit me that depending on how the other series do too, that's going to determine who the Leafs play in the third round. And let's face it, we all expect, not that it's actually going to happen, but we expect and hope the Leafs to get to that point. So yeah, the seeding is going to have a lot of implications. And I don't know about anyone else here tonight, but I was watching the start of the playoffs, and it looks like it's going to be a tight race all around the board.
Yeah, I mean, the first two games of the playoffs already, both overtime finishers. There's never been an NHL playoffs where all three of the beginning games go to overtime.
Yep. Yeah, it's what it was like late minute of OT today with the Isles and Pens, so it's gonna be tight.
So let's get to some comment section. We got the hockey kid. He's hyped to see
Hockey kid.
Clarkey on here. Duncan says Leafs in 5 or 6. If there's ever a time to win a round, it's this one coming up. There's a lot
Amen.
of, I mean, this is the team to beat the Montreal Canadiens. We got to beat the Montreal Canadiens. Big rivalry, and it'd just be nice to get that monkey off your back, winning a series finally.
Yeah, it's a long time coming. If we can't do it against the Habs with a team this year, the curse might just live on forever. I mean, if there isn't a year, there's no year better than this year to get it done. So hopefully the Leafs can bring it together. Let's see some comments though. What are your expectations about this series coming up? Any bold predictions? Let's see a bunch of comments come in here. Come on, guys.
I'm feeling good about this series. I really am. We're gonna get into talking more about this series in a second, but let's just talk about some regular season stuff first. I mean, technically the regular season isn't finished, so this isn't official, but you can crown the king. Austin Matthews is going to win the Rocket Richard Trophy this year. Great accomplishment for him. 41 goals this season in a condensed year.
Yeah, he's taken the chip on that, and I think he deserved it. I mean, it was streaky for him. I think he's never really like every game he's going to score, but then there's spurts where he'll just go off and have multi-goal nights. How many hat tricks did he have this year?
He just had the one, but
just one.
He never went more than 5 games without scoring a goal.
Consistently consistent, as you always say. So it was good to see him take that title this year, and he deserves it. And he's the supporting cast with Marner. Marner was a huge factor in that, and you got to think about the guys that help him get him there.
Yeah, I mean, Austin Matthews was spectacular this season. He was motivated coming into the season. He got robbed of a 50-goal season last year due to the lockdown, and then ever since this season, he just dominated. It wasn't really close. The Rocket Richard Trophy race, we could have crowned him maybe even a month ago.
Yeah, for sure. We got some comments flying in here. Connor, Leafs in 5. Bold prediction.
Leafs in 5. You want to just get into predicting what the series score is going to be? Let's do it. Let's take a look at the playoff series schedule first. So between the two teams, Thursday, May 20th, it kicks off at 7:30 p.m. in Toronto. And then notice game 3 and 4, a back-to-back Monday and Tuesday. I think that works in the advantage of the Toronto Maple Leafs. I think that they have two reliable goaltenders back there, and that's when I expect to see a bit of Frederik Andersen.
Yeah, I don't think that. And Buckshot just threw in a comment here. Does Campbell play in game 4 and 5 for the back to back? I have to agree with you. I think that that's going to display the Leafs' goaltending depth. And let's face it, we could probably rotate 3 goalies into this series and be somewhat confident. I'm not saying that's actually going to happen, but I think the Leafs on the back end, we have the depth. So I don't expect them to go back to back with Campbell unless he's maybe super hot. But you don't want to run him too tired and play him every night. That's a tight schedule.
No, look at some of the teams in the past that have won with multiple goaltenders, or even come close to winning. The Vegas Golden Knights, they have 2 great goaltenders, Robin Leonard, Marc-Andre Fleury. Washington a couple years back won with 2 goaltenders. There's teams that you just can't get enough goaltending depth with. And Montreal, they have a solid goaltender, Carey Price, a lot of question marks. He's expected to return for game 1, but he's just been injured and struggling this year. He's someone who can play in back-to-backs, but I would rather go to Frederik Andersen. Even if Jack Campbell's performing amazing, I just don't want to wear him down.
Yeah, I think that's a good point, and I'm sure that Keith, he's a game manager, he'll know what to do. But the back-to-back has a lot of implications, and Montreal's goaltending has been a question mark. I mean, Price coming back off injury, don't know how serious that injury was for him. Also, we saw them struggle, at least their third goalie, forget his name, Primo, I think. He really struggled. The Leafs scored 5 on him in the first period, I think, a week ago. So, if there's bad goaltending for Montreal, that's really going to be a thorn in the side. But I don't see that happening for the Leafs. I think that Campbell's going to be rolling into this series.
Yeah, and we're not taking anything away from Carey Price here. Let's just make that clear. He is an outstanding goaltender. He can take over a series, and if Montreal ends up winning this series, it's going to be on the shoulders of Carey Price.
Yeah, I think, again, Price, I'm not saying he's a bad goaltender. It's been an off season for him. Price is a legend, probably the best goalie in our time in terms of consistently. Yeah, he's had some injuries in the past couple of years, but no doubt in my mind that he's probably still one of the best in the league, and really made us proud being our goaltender for Canada too, certain points too. So we love Price, but I don't know. It's tough when you're coming off injuries. The whole Montreal team has a lot of injuries right now. Is that not correct?
Yeah, so let's give some Montreal Canadiens injury updates right now. And this was the head coach in Montreal. He spoke to this. He was saying that he's expecting Brendan Gallagher, Philip Deneau, Shea Weber, and Carey Price all to return in the playoffs. He's not 100% sure that they're going to return for game 1, but he's pretty sure.
Damn. Yeah, that's I somewhat kind of want to see that. I don't want excuses, and especially some of these Habs fans saying, "Oh, we weren't full strength when we played you." Let's bring on the competition. I think that's great. We're gonna have a closer series if all those guys come back. But yeah, I saw a stat. I think it was with Gallagher that Montreal's wins versus losses when he's in the lineup alone really drastically changes. So it's gonna be a lot to handle for the Leafs.
Yeah, Brendan Gallagher's someone who gets under the skin of his opponents. He's someone you'd want to have on your team. He's a chippy player, and he's a playoff type of player. So that'll be a big addition. He was a big loss this year with that broken thumb. Carey Price, obviously, massive implications on a series. And then Shea Weber, your captain. These are big holes that the Montreal Canadiens were missing. So getting these players back will be huge for them in the playoffs. They'll definitely get a big boost.
Yeah, we got a couple updates in here. Minnesota Wild won. Minnesota won against Vegas in overtime. So that's an update. Thank you for that. I didn't know that, but wow.
You know what? Don't sleep on the Minnesota Wild. They've got a really solid young core there, but I just don't think they're ready to go far yet.
Yeah, I don't know. It's when you always have little expectation, is a chip on your shoulder, I think. And Minnesota, everyone's expecting Vegas to win, but not William Bennett. Actually, he says he's got Wild in 6, so good for him.
Yeah, interesting for sure. We're gonna get into talking about some playoff brackets in a bit. So some more clarity on the Maple Leafs goaltending situation, if there wasn't already. Jack Campbell's going to start Game 1 against Montreal. I'd expect him to play in Game 2 and 3 as well, and then Game 4 on the back-to-back in Montreal. I think you go to Frederik Andersen.
Yeah, I think that you got to go with Freddie at least one game in this series. And again, it's not just because of his name and does he deserve to be in the series because he's been the Leafs goaltender through and through. I think Campbell's earned the right to be our starter. But that being said, you also don't want to run Campbell to the ground. He had an injury through the season too. So if we overplay Campbell to the point where we're jeopardizing what he could do for us, then we can't do that. So I agree with you. If it has to be Anderson and net or even Riddick, so be it. Like we got the team in front of them this year, especially that I saw a stat. The Leafs top forward, top 10 for being offense and top for defense, both in the top 10s. The last time they were that going in the playoffs was 1978. So we have a well-rounded team. I think that alone, you got to be confident as a goalie.
Absolutely, this team it plays with a certain level of togetherness this year. It seems different than in past years. There's a comment here I wanted to get to. Well, Campbell does not have any playoff experience ever. So yeah, he hasn't played a playoff game in the NHL. But I think just based off of the way he's performed this year and the fact that the team has looked better in front of him, because it really has. The team has looked better in front of Jack Campbell than it did in front of Frederik Andersen. I think you just got to give it to him. He's earned that right.
Yeah, is it correlation leads to causation? Like, is it that the Leafs are playing better because Campbell's in that, or is it just so that when Campbell started to join, the Leafs started to gel? So there's arguments to be made there, and I think that we have seen those types of comments in here before, where people say and you've said it, that the Leafs just play like they are more motivated when Campbell's in that.
Yeah, they really do. They seem like they just play together better in front of Jack Campbell. I don't know what it is, but it just really seems that way. It's the eye test. It passes.
Yeah.
Would you play David Riddick?
I don't think he's a bad goalie, though. Like,
Nah.
I'm not saying I'd play him over Anderson, but is he a bad goalie? No.
No, he's not a bad goalie, but I'd play Frederik Andersen over David Riddick, and I don't think you can really make the argument for David Riddick over Frederik Andersen.
Yeah, no, I'm not going to argue with that. But again, having that as your third goalie gives you a peace of mind.
Yeah, it's nice to have that third option, and you could go even further down the line. We have a fourth option, Michael Hutchinson.
Duncan, speak of the devil. Look at Duncan's comment. Would you play Michael Hutchinson? Just kidding.
Yeah, I mean, no, not this year. Not this year. So what if he hasn't had playoff experience? We all have a first day. I wish people would stop with that. Yeah, I mean, it's nice to have the playoff experience. There's no doubt about it. It's a valuable asset. You look at Marc-Andre Fleury, just he's done it so much. There's other goaltenders as well. So many other examples you could use, but it's nice to have that experience. It could be a really great asset in a deep playoff run, but you got to start somewhere. And Jack Campbell, he had a great, fantastic regular season. So give him a chance in the playoffs.
Yeah, amen to that. Life's about journey, and I think Campbell's journey's been tough, but he's a guy that's shown a lot of perseverance. And we can't just look at saying because he hasn't been in the playoffs, he doesn't deserve a shot. He's definitely earned that right.
And you only play Riddick if either Anderson or Campbell gets hurt. I think that's a great comment from Jason Brooks there.
Brooksy dropping facts.
So You know how we talk about all the veterans on this team all the time and how their impact is going to be so big going into the playoffs?
Yep.
Joe Thornton, Wayne Simmons, Jason Spezza, Nick Foligno. We have so many veterans on this team. I just want to
Yep.
show you some stats when it comes to Jason Spezza this year, because he had one of his best seasons in a long time, like 4 years. So statistically speaking, this year he had 10 goals, 20 assists, and 54 games played. So 30 points. And you go back 3 or 4 years here. The last time he scored more than 30 points was in 2016 and 2017 in 68 games played with Dallas.
Yeah, that's insane. I'm just looking at his body of work completely. Such a great player, but yeah, year over year, well, those auto stats are good, but yeah, year over year, like he is improving. And I saw this on TSN the other night watching the broadcast that ODog said that he's extended his career each season because it just seems like, it's not going to end. Like he knows that he's getting older. He probably has to work a bit more to stay in the lineup. We waived him at the start of the season. So there's always going to be question marks with the guy that's 37 going on 38, but I agree. A great point that he's really stepped up his play this year. And that's why I hope he can help out down the stretch, produce, like get Spezza a nice goal. That would be huge for the Leafs.
It would be, and it'd be great to see him win a Stanley Cup, wouldn't it? He's 56% in the faceoff circle this year. Another great asset to have. He's just a veteran. He can score goals. He can create plays, and he can win faceoffs. He can do so much for you.
Yeah, big guy too.
Yeah, it's a great asset to have, and all this veteran leadership the Toronto Maple Leafs have, I expect it to help take this team deep into the playoffs.
Yeah, for sure. Let's get to some comments here. Joseph Marchand. I don't know if I said that right. I'm sorry. Clarkey, what happened to your famous flag behind you? You cannot take it down. Bad luck. I'm getting it washed because after the Leafs go deep this year, I'm never washing it again. So I'm washing it right now.
Yeah, maybe we should try to grow a playoff beard. I can't really do it too well, but I might try starting Thursday.
I got like an aftershave on right now, but yeah, maybe I'll try get a beard going. My mustache gets out of control, so I don't know if I want to do that.
Just a question: do you think the Leafs can fix their power play? I think they definitely can. I think there's just so much talent on this team. It's hard not to think that. It's hard to think that they can't fix their power play problems. It's been atrocious and hard to watch as of late for a couple months now. But when you think about it here, they've been playing the same teams constantly, and it's not an excuse. It's just they've been playing the same teams constantly. Maybe their power plays become a bit more predictable to the teams around the North Division.
Yeah, I've heard that teams start to get accustomed to who they're playing, especially on the power play. But also, I think it was Ray Ferraro. I'm giving TSN a lot of airtime right now, but I think it was Ray Ferraro saying that the Leafs aren't a shoot first power play, so that's why it's easy for their opponents to kill it because Leafs are often trying to set up the perfect shot and passing a lot. He said something like that, so maybe it's the system too. I don't think you can just blame it all on the fact that they played the same teams. They're clearly in a slump. But yeah, something's got to be fixed there. And I don't know if the personnel needs to be changed a bit, but I don't know who you'd even change. Like Riley looked so slow and out of it last night or Friday night, but I don't think you can even take him off. If you'd want to.
There's tough decisions to be made for sure. And that's why we're not getting paid the big bucks to do it. But I think it's just more about your rotations than your personnel. I think that they just need to fire more pucks on net and good things will happen.
Yeah, we got some comments in here about the power play. Corey, excuses and said if they lose, was expecting if they won, it's win. So it's a win-win, LOL. Make sure they always have a reason.
Habs fans.
Oh, okay. Yeah, okay. That makes sense.
Yeah. Power play needs the big shot, the big point shot to draw attention away from Matthews and Marner. Right now, teams don't need to defend the blue line. That's true.
That's a good point.
Morgan Riley's not firing them like Brian McCabe from the point. He fires a lot of shots wide of the net, and he passes up a lot of shot opportunities. It's always going to go to these two players.
Yeah, what if you like Muzzin? He's on the second unit, right? He's got a nice shot. What if you put Muzzin on the first unit? I just don't know if he can move the puck that quickly. Probably, I don't know.
I like having Morgan Riley to retrieve that puck because he's a faster skater. I mean, Jake Muzzin, he's got power play experience. You might have to consider it if it's not working. But how about Rasmus Sandin?
Yeah, put him on the young stud. He's been looking good. Maybe he's gonna have playing time too with Bogosian's status, which we're gonna get into. But yeah, that's a question mark there too. So there'll be opportunities.
Yeah, here's injury update regarding Zach Bogosian from Sheldon Keefe.
Sheldon, what are the chances Zach Bogosian might be available to you at some point during this first round series?
Well, in terms of the series, I think it's very positive as long as he continues to progress. Yeah, very good sign for us to have him on the ice here today. I haven't gotten the report of how it all went medically from their side, but just from what I saw, he looked good and was doing a lot and was eager to be out there with the team today. So that's a good sign, and he'll just continue to progress. But I certainly think he'll be an option in this series.
So he says an option in this series. You can read into that as much as you want. Maybe I might read into it a bit too much. Zach Bogosian, you'd expect him back at some point in the series, but does he come back for game one? That's a question mark.
Yeah, I don't know if I can see him back game one. You're right. That answer was a bit more open ended. Like he didn't say, "Oh, Bogosian's going to be starting game one." Like it wasn't that decisive. It was more he'll be involved. So I think maybe you'll see him in game 4, or 5, or 6. Or I think it really depends the state of how the Toronto defense is playing. Like if you plug in Sandin and he gets you some offense and he's playing solid defensively, we might not rush back Bogosian at all. I'm not saying I still think Bogosian is going to be reintegrated in this lineup, but I think it really depends on how the team's playing.
I think Zach Bogosian, he's someone that we want for this playoff run. He played 20 games with the Tampa Bay Lightning last year in the Stanley Cup. He no other playoff experience, but he won a Stanley Cup with the Lightning last year. That's someone you want to have on your team playing in the playoffs. There's definitely an opening for guys such as Ben Hutton and Rasmus Sandin right now, though. They may have opportunities to play. I don't expect everyone to stay healthy for the entire playoffs.
No, you can never expect that. If you expect that, then I don't think you're watching hockey. I think you're watching a softer sport because there's always injuries in hockey, especially playoff hockey.
And this is going to be a physical first series, too. Montreal is a physical team. They're getting Brendan Gallagher and Shea Weber back.
Oh, Josh Anderson, right?
Yeah, it's going to be physical. It's going to be a physical series.
Shea Weber, Petrie, they got some big defenders. I want to get to this comment. Jat's got a good comment here. She says she is not as concerned about Riley on the power play as I am about the giveaways and bad pinches. Hope he figures it out, because the Habs will definitely be looking to exploit that. Shaky Riley, guaranteed they are watching lots of videos of him.
Yeah, he's really struggled. He's really struggled at times, and he pinches a lot, doesn't get back at times. Costly giveaways, just errors that you cannot afford to make in the playoffs.
Yeah, I think that touches on. And Brooksy says the Leafs play defense well. I could see Bogosian back in second round. What are your thoughts on that?
I think you want to integrate him back into the lineup as soon as possible, but there's just so much flexibility with this roster that really anything's possible. I'd expect to see him back in round 1, though. Let's go, boys. Crush the Habs.
Let's go.
crush the Habs. And if you haven't already, please make sure you smash that like button down below. And if you're watching this on YouTube, hit the notification bell to be notified every time new content comes out on Maple Leafs Media. The playoffs are coming, and there's going to be a lot of excitement going on this channel, post-game shows, lots to cover in the coming weeks.
The boys will be buzzing. There'll be a lot to talk about. Maple Leafs media is firing on all cylinders.
So how about Riley Nash? Riley Nash will play in this series. That's exciting. We get Riley Nash. Will make his Maple Leafs debut at some point in this series, maybe game 1. He's returning from a knee injury, a sprained knee. So this is a guy who's a defensive shutdown type of center, fourth line guy. He's not really going to score or have much offensive outpours or anything like that, but he's a shutdown defensive type of player, and I'm excited to see him here.
Is he good on the penalty kill? Like, do you think he'd be slotted in on the penalty kill for the Leafs?
Definitely could. Definitely could. He can play on the wing or center. He's flexible. It's nice.
Yeah, it's good. It's nice to have that piece down the stretch. I honestly forgot we had him. Like, I forgot he was on the Leafs. So, and the more the merrier if you got a guy like that.
And he's a veteran, and he's played against us twice in the past couple of years in the playoffs, once with Boston, once with Columbus. It's nice to have him on our side this time.
Is he a big guy? Like, does he check a lot?
He'll get physical. He's a nice addition to this team, and
Sweet.
He'll be competing for consistent playing time.
We got some comments about Nash here. Leafs fans are high on him. Holy.
Nash and Marner or Hyman on power play 1. Nash isn't going to be on the power play 1. Nash
Joey
won't-
Shelder.
No, okay, PK1. PK1 oops. Okay. Yeah, no. Nash won't be getting any power play time, but he is Nash is the type of player that every team needs for a deep run. It's that type of player. Shutdown role kind of guy.
He's a gritty guy. I mean, you can't all have your lineup full of superstars through and through. You need a guy like Nash. So great comment. Great comment.
Yeah, I mean, we've seen in past years, you can't simply outscore opponents every single game. You can't expect it to be a 5-3 game all the time. You need to have nice defensive play, solid goaltending, especially in the playoffs.
Yeah, for sure. Ian, a lot of hype coming in here. Let's go, boys. Thursday can't come fast enough. Go, Leafs, go. Love it. Love the energy.
Do you think Price will be good enough to frustrate us? I think yeah, you could expect him to be. I think he's going to get under the skin of the Toronto Maple Leafs. I know he's struggled this year, and he's been struggling with injuries as well. But I'm not going to bet against Carey Price. I think he's definitely going to come out to play.
Yeah, I'd say the only thing for me is if his health gets in the way. But yeah, Price is class act. Price is all-world goaltender, and he could cause us problems. That's why the Leafs, we can't walk into this series thinking we're going to play Edmonton or Winnipeg in the next round. We got to get through this round first. It's going to be a bloodbath.
We do have to get through this round first. It's one round at a time. But since we're fans, we're going to speculate a little. You want to talk a little Stanley Cup playoff bracket?
Yeah, let's do it. Let's get everyone's predictions in here too. Shoot it as we go along. We want to see everyone's predictions. I saw someone predicted Minnesota. So if you got crazy stuff like that, shoot them in here. Let's go.
Okay, and before we do that, let's just finish our predictions for this series. So, what do you think the series score is going to be, and is it going to be the Toronto Maple Leafs that move on, Clarkey?
The series score or each game? We're doing the whole series, right?
Just series score, yeah.
I'm going to say, Leafs in 6. I'm going to say it. I think that the Leafs are going to get off to a good start. They're going to go up 2-0. They're going to drop one in Montreal. They're going to take the second one, go up 3-1. drop it at home to win in 5, and they're going to close it out in Montreal.
I also have Leafs in 6, Clarky. I also
Really?
have the Leafs in 6 as well.
We didn't even want to share it, but we had the same thing.
No, I have Leafs in 6 as well. I mean, I think it's an advantage that they have game 3 and 4 back to back in Montreal. I actually think that works out to be an advantage for Toronto with our goaltending situation. You have 2 goalies who can come in. Montreal also has that, but I believe in Anderson more than Jake Allen. And Montreal is going to come out to play. We can't be sleeping on the Canadiens. This is the biggest rivalry in hockey. These guys are going to come out to play. It's going to be a 6-game series, and Toronto's going to take it.
Yeah, I think I got to agree with most of the things you say. And we got to go back to the first game of the season. I mean, if it's going to be a game like that, obviously a lot's happened since then, but it's going to be a tight series. It's going to be a very tight series. And Leafs fans, let's get to some of the comments here. What are people saying about the series? What are all these Leaf fans saying?
Read my name. Leafs in 6, baby.
I love that. What a name.
Yeah, Leafs in 6, baby. That's what I've got. I'm with you.
Joe?
Leafs in 6 because of Carey Price. Leafs in 4. That's confidence right there.
Damn.
That'd be great to see. I mean, Toronto's won their last 5 games against Montreal, so maybe the trend continues.
Yeah. Who knows?
But then again, Montreal's getting healthier. They're getting a lot of players back. So something you also have to take into consideration. Leafs in 5. Leafs 4 games to 2, so that's a 6-game series. 7. Oh, game 7,
Come on,
that'd be a real nail biter, especially against Montreal.
Yeah, I'd be nervous.
Leafs in 6. Leafs in 6. Leafs in 6. Leafs in 7.
Okay.
Great minds think alike. Leafs in 5. Leafs in 6. So notice how no one took Montreal.
No one's taking Montreal. We're all Leaf fans here. I don't think anyone's taking. We need a troll in here to say Montreal is going to win because no one's saying that here.
Spike says Colorado, Toronto, Pens, and Vegas in the Final 4. Colorado over Toronto in the final. That scenario is just not possible because Vegas, Colorado in the same division.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, you're right.
No.
You'd have to swap out Vegas or Colorado.
We'll get into explaining that a bit more real soon. More physicality. Out-hit the Habs. You know what? I'd like to see the physicality. We haven't been out-hitting the Habs the last 3 games. I believe it was 90-60 in favor of the Montreal Canadiens. But it's not all about hits. It's not all about hits. It's about turnovers. It's about playing. And the Toronto Maple Leafs are a high-flying team. We don't have to out-hit the Montreal Canadiens to win. If we have the puck, we're not going to be making hits.
Yeah, like hits, total hits, and puck possession. Usually the team that has the puck more is going to get hit more. It's basic math. So I think that you're right on that. But what I will say is it's playoffs. Checks are going to be finished. There's going to be some hits. There's going to be some fights. There's going to be some blood. This is going to be a rough series.
It is. It is for sure. I can't wait.
Oh, man.
How do you guys feel? How do you feel about Joe Thornton in the playoffs? I think he's going to be a beast.
I mean, he's starting to look like a beast with that beard, but no, I think that he's going to be a big factor. I mean, we didn't sign Jumbo for the start of the season or to get us wins against Vancouver or something random like that. This is his moment that we need him for. What do you think? What are your thoughts on Jumbo Joe down the stretch?
He's been playing a lot better over the past couple weeks, and he's getting primed for a playoff run. This is why he was brought to Toronto, for what he does in the locker room and to be a fourth-line piece on a Stanley Cup winning team. Jumbo Joe came to Toronto to win a Stanley Cup. He's got to start it off against Montreal. That's a big series to start off in, but I think he's going to play his role nicely. He's been here before. He's done it numerous times. He's never won a Stanley Cup, but there's no better time than right now to do it.
What's the deepest he's gone?
He's
It's
gone to the
conference
Cup.
finals, right?
No, he's gone to the Cup Finals. They lost to Pittsburgh. San
The
Jose lost to
Sharks, man?
Pittsburgh. Yeah,
What year?
maybe is. I feel
Oh,
like
it
it
was
was
the most
around
recent one they won. You're right. Yeah.
2015 or so. I think they
Yeah.
won one more after that against Nashville.
Yeah,
They
you're
won
right.
one more against Nashville. So
I forgot about that.
yeah, he's gotten really close, but he just hasn't gotten it. Expect him to. He's gonna be
Olympian.
hungry. He's gonna be hungry. That's the
Yeah.
one thing missing from his resume. He's had a Hall of Fame career, like you just said, an Olympian, World Juniors. He just hasn't gotten the Stanley Cup. It's an elusive thing. It would be great to see him hoist the Stanley Cup. And if you saw the thumbnail of this video, it's Jumbo Joe lifting the Stanley Cup in a Maple Leafs uniform. It looks great.
Looks amazing, and I think we all forget, because let's call it what it is. He's at the end of his career, probably. We forget what a legend he was, though. For so many years, he was definitely, arguably, one of the best players in the game. And him and Marleau down in San Jose, it was just a classic thing to have in the NHL for so many years. So respect to that. But I agree with you that he's gonna be big down the stretch.
He absolutely is. He's going to be big for this team. I feel as if this team, obviously, they want to win the Stanley Cup, but it's a bit extra added motivation. They have Jumbo Joe, a legend on your team. You want to perform for him.
What do you think his pregame meal is? Like, what do you think he eats before a game? Like, I'm genuine. Do you think he's an old school guy that goes for like a pound of pasta? Because he does move pretty slow now. Like, I'm wondering what he eats before the games.
I could see like pasta or something, but I feel like he's been doing this for so long. I don't think in today's NHL you'd get by eating pasta before every game. Maybe like a peanut butter banana sandwich or something. Get him going right before the game.
Yeah, I don't know. Whatever he's done, it's been able to keep him around for a while. So
Imagine Thornton Game 7 OT winner. Be wild. That would be wild. Hyman is a key player for the Maple Leafs. Of course he is. Of course he is.
amen to that, brother.
He's a workhorse for this team. Power play, penalty kill, he can do it all.
Yeah, we miss him. We need him back.
It would just be such a big spark to our top six forward group. I think you could see Nick Foligno on the second line, Hyman go back up to that first line. So you have Foligno beside Tavares and Nylander. Then you have Matthews, Marner, Hyman.
Forget we have Foligno. Like, I forget we're pretty loaded. We're pretty loaded. So let's just hope that, our predictions that we have so far, they come true.
William Bennett, the winner of the Leafs and Habs series, will win the cup, whoever that may be. Wow. So Montreal, this season, they're the lowest seed in the playoffs. They're the 18th overall team in the whole league.
Yeah, that's why I see why some people, especially some of the American fans, were complaining a bit. Because should that really happen?
It's a different year.
Yeah, exactly. But you're right. Imagine they took it all, though. That would be like LA the one year that won the cup, that deep run. But I don't think that's happening. Well, I'm thinking the Leafs are winning, so maybe he's right.
So let's do a bit of playoff bracket stuff here.
Oh, yeah.
Let's get into it, Clarkey. So Toronto, Montreal. We both say Toronto's winning that series.
I think everyone here can agree Toronto is winning.
Okay, so Toronto is the 6th seed in the NHL. And after that, it's Winnipeg, Edmonton. I'm actually seeing Edmonton winning this series. Edmonton, they dominated the season series against Winnipeg. Connor McDavid, Leon Draisaitl, it's hard to argue against them. Connor Hellebuyck's a great goalie, but I just think Edmonton's got their number this year.
I got to go with Edmonton, too, on that. Have to. What are we saying? I mean, let's give the number 2. William Bennett says Oilers in 5. What are we saying?
Oilers in, I could see 5. I could see 5 as well.
I'm going to say it's going to be a stretch. I'm going to say Game 7. I think that Winnipeg's going to dig deep and show that they're still a pretty decent team. I'm going to say Oilers in 7, though.
Okay. Interesting. Next series, let's go down here. So you have Colorado, St. Louis. St. Louis made a run to get in the playoffs late in the season. I think Colorado's the team expected to win this series.
I got to go Colorado here. I think you got to go with Colorado. McKinnon and all their supporting cast, Kadri, Burkowski. I'm saying Colorado in 5.
It's the 1 seed against 15 seed in the NHL. Colorado's been pretty dominant this year. I'm taking Colorado as well.
Everyone's saying Colorado 5, Colorado 4, 4, 4. Got a few people confident in the house.
I'm taking Colorado in 6. Colorado in 6. I could see St. Louis pushing the series a bit just because of their playoff experience, but Colorado's going to take this series. And then Vegas Golden Knights, Minnesota Wild, and it's a 1-0 series for the Minnesota Wild right now. As we speak, there's an overtime winner earlier today. This is the 9 seed Minnesota Wild against the 2 seed Vegas Golden Knights. I'm still taking Vegas to win this series, even though it's 1-0, and I think it comes in 6 games.
Yeah, I wasn't seeing Wild win this game today, but they're surprising, and they're a good young team, like you said. But I still got to go with Vegas. I just think Vegas' goaltending and their body of work. I'm going to say Vegas in 6.
Yeah, I'm with you there. And then Pittsburgh, New York Islanders. That's a tough one. That's a real tough one. Real tough one. These two teams have met multiple times in the past couple of years in the playoffs. Pittsburgh's really piecing it together. It's hard to bet against Sidney Crosby, and I'm not going to. Even though it's 1-0 the Islanders, I'm taking Pittsburgh in 7.
Yeah, I did a little bit of a side fantasy player pool, and I banked on Pittsburgh. So I got a bias. I hope Pittsburgh brings it out of that branch. So I got to go Pittsburgh too. But, man, Islanders are a good defensive team. They are a really good defensive team.
They are a shutdown type of team. How many games do you think that's going to be?
I'm going to have to say 7. Like, I was looking at the stat line today, and they stood on, I don't know, Ilsonov, the goalie on the Islanders, he stood on his head. So I think it's going to be a goalie battle, but I think Pittsburgh squeezes out.
Yeah, it's always tough, those two teams matching up, but I'm going Pittsburgh as well.
How many games?
I said 7.
7? Okay. Yeah.
And then the next series, you have Washington, Boston. That opened the playoffs last night. 1-0 series lead for Washington, and I'm taking Washington in this series. I'm saying it's going to be a 6-game series.
I got to stick with what I thought initially. I'm probably going to be wrong, but I'm going to say Boston, just because I think Washington's kind of beat up. But at the end of the day, Washington's still a really good team. They showed that last night, so I'm going Boston 7. I got to stick with it.
And you know what? We'll get back to that bracket in a second, but Leafs fans, don't get on me too much here. Hear me out. You might actually want to cheer for Boston to win that playoff series, and I'll tell you why later. But you really might want Boston to win that playoff series against Washington.
What are you smoking?
We got there's some seeding implications, and so Boston right now and Tampa Bay. Tampa Bay is the 8th seed. Boston's 10th seed. So Toronto's 6th seed. And once you get past your divisions, it becomes the Final Four, 1 representative from each division. It's reseeded from there. So the top team plays against the lowest seeded team. And Boston being a lower seeded team than Toronto, Tampa Bay as well, that would push Toronto to play the 2nd highest seeded team instead of the 1st. As long as someone in the top 5 finishes ahead of Toronto.
So what you're basically saying is that if a lower ranked team than Toronto makes it through, they're going to take the better team, and we play the number 2 team.
Yes, that's correct.
So that could be the difference between playing Colorado and who? Carolina?
Carolina, Florida.
Okay,
So,
yeah. Go Boston then. Go Boston and Tampa.
Basically, you take, and this is if everything that we expect to happen happens, which it very well could not happen. But this is, you could be playing Florida, Carolina as the lower seeds, or you could play Vegas and Colorado as the top 2 seeds.
Yeah, and I guess that we all, like you said, we're making the assumption that the top seeded teams are going to make it through. There could be the case that there's a few teams below Toronto that make it through, like Minnesota, but I don't think that's happening. You never know, though. But yeah, it's a good point that Leafs fans, maybe we shouldn't hate Boston so much this playoffs until we play them.
Boston 7, not the Bruins. Caps in 7. Dude, I voted for Boston, even though I hate them. We have some resentment for the Boston Bruins, and rightfully so. Rightfully so after those playoff experiences, but you might want to root for Boston to beat Washington and make it out of their division. You might want to root for them.
You know, I was going to ask, and I asked this one of the other shows, and I want everyone share your opinion on this. And I'm going to start with asking you, who's a bigger rival for the Leafs, all in all together, Boston or Montreal?
It's Montreal. It's Montreal. I know recency bias. People are going to say Boston. It's going to happen. Younger generations especially, they're going to say Boston. But Toronto, Montreal, it's been the main fixture in the NHL for a really long time. It's the oldest rivalry in this game. Toronto, Montreal, it's Saturday nights. What do you want to see? You want to see Toronto, Montreal. We're going to get to see it in a playoff series for the first time since 1979. I'm excited for it, and I think there's no doubt that it's Montreal in my mind. How about you?
Yeah, I say Montreal too. And I think Duncan's got a good summary right here. Historic equals Montreal. Last decade equals Boston. I mean, Boston, recency bias, they've left a bad taste in our mouths as Leafs fans for a while now. But I got to go with Montreal. Montreal is just that team that Leafs, Montreal, it's one of the best matchups in professional sports, in my opinion. So I have to agree with you on that.
Yeah. Habs. It's got to be the Habs. It's
Yeah,
got to
maybe
be.
it's not that big of a question as I thought. I thought I asked earlier, though, and people were saying Boston. So
You know what? I think if you would have asked that before this North Division season, if it was like just a regular NHL season with the normal Atlantic Division, then you would have had more comments saying Boston because we would have been playing them this year. But I guess recency bias has kind of swung back to Montreal this year.
yeah, that's true. That's true.
Back to the playoff bracket. So
Let's go.
we said Toronto to beat Montreal. We said Edmonton to beat Winnipeg. I had Colorado. You had Colorado. We both took Vegas.
Yep.
We both had Pittsburgh. You took Boston, and
I took Boston. Yeah.
I took Washington.
Yep.
Nashville and Carolina. The 3 seed against the 3 seed against the 13 seed in the NHL. Nashville's been very hot as of late.
Damn.
It's actually a more intriguing series than you'd think on paper, but I'm going to go with Carolina.
Yeah, I got to go with you on that. I'm going to say Carolina in 6.
And this might be, I know it's Toronto, Montreal, but just right now, this is the best playoff series in my opinion. Right now.
Really?
For the first playoff series, this is the best one. Tampa, Florida. Tampa Bay, Florida. First time these two teams have matched up in the playoffs in NHL history. The two Florida teams. I'm taking the Florida Panthers to win this series in 7 games. Tampa Bay Lightning get Nikita Kucherov and Steven Stamkos back. There's some question marks there for me. I'm not sure if they're going to be full health and what they're going to be capable of doing. I'm not doubting them, but I'm going with Florida for this.
I was convinced that Tampa was going to take it. But the one thing I forgot about Florida, too, is they got a really experienced coach there now. Joe Quenneville, was he a 3-time winner? Like, he knows what he's doing.
Yeah.
So I think that's a big X factor, even though Lightning just came off of it. But I'm going to still go with the Lightning. I'm going to say Lightning in 7. I'm going to take the reverse of you.
Okay, so this really changes the playoff bracket scenario. In your scenario, you'd have. Let me do the reseeding here. So you'd have. So Boston is the 10th seed and Tampa is the 8th seed.
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah,
So-
I have a crazy seeding. Yeah.
Okay, so this really changes a lot. So I'll do mine first, and then we'll get to yours. Okay.
All right.
So in my scenario, it becomes Pittsburgh versus Washington, 5 versus 7, and in that series, I take Pittsburgh in 7.
Okay.
And then to represent the West Division, you have Vegas, Colorado.
Well, I think that's a series everyone's looking for, Vegas and Colorado. That's going to be, if that happens, that'll be wicked.
And I'm giving the edge to Colorado. Vegas has great goaltending, great team. But I think the edge is going to Colorado this year. They've been pushing for the past couple seasons. They haven't been able to make it as far as they'd like to. I think this is the year they finally make that push. And then you have Florida versus Carolina for me. And in that, I take Carolina. Carolina Hurricanes, 3 seed over the 4 seed. And that leaves us Toronto, Edmonton. There's no doubt in my mind Toronto Maple Leafs would win that series. You remember that dominant stretch of hockey they had earlier in the season where it was three-game miniseries in Edmonton, and Toronto won. I believe it was 16-1. The score was. Connor McDavid, Draisaitl had 1 assist combined, so they can dominate the Oilers, and I'd expect that to happen in a playoff series.
Yeah, those are some interesting picks.
And then, sorry, Clarkey, and then it's down to the final 4, and the reseeding. The way that works out, you have 1-seeded Colorado Avalanche against the 6-seeded Toronto Maple Leafs,
Oof.
and the 3rd-seed Carolina Hurricanes against the 5th-seed Pittsburgh Penguins. In those
Okay.
series, sorry, Leafs Nation. I might take Colorado.
Oh, no.
I'm gonna take Colorado. I'm gonna take Pittsburgh for the Stanley Cup Finals.
Oh, my.
The Leafs make a push, and they fall in 6 games to the Colorado Avalanche.
Jeez. Okay.
I want
That's a bold prediction.
I want it to be Leafs all the way. I really do, but the way my bracket works out, we get Colorado, and that's a big obstacle to overcome.
Yeah, to win the cup, you got to beat the best. So, damn. Oh, damn. I might have today call as the one team I'm scared of.
Yeah, that top line, Rantanen, Landeskog, McKinnon, doesn't get much better than that.
Yeah, no, they are stacked.
I'm sorry, guys. I took the Avs to take out Toronto. Avs are overrated, playing 6 bad teams in their division. They have the Vegas Golden Knights in their division, who one of the top teams in the NHL, the 2nd-seeded team. After that, the division's kind of weak. It's pretty weak. Minnesota's an up-and-coming team, but after that, it's pretty weak. Yes, but I don't think the Colorado Avalanche are overrated at all.
Yeah, they just got the firepower. You saw McKinnon this year where he turned it around. Colorado's a very good team, and they're depth-wise, too, very good. So it's hard to really say they're overrated, but I think a lot of people are picking Colorado as a deep team. But they're not even favored. I think Vegas is, well, I don't know after today, but Vegas was favored more. And there was one other team favored more than them. I think maybe Pittsburgh. But yeah, it's tough to consider that the Leafs might lose to a team like that. But I don't know. Would you consider that a disappointment? And Leafs fans, do you think that it would be a disappointment if the Leafs got that far and played Colorado and lost? Would that be a disappointment? I don't think it would be.
It would be disappointing to
In the
watch, but
moment.
it wouldn't be a disappointment. It would be a fantastic season. You win the division, your Canada's team, and you lose to the Colorado Bay Avalanche. I wouldn't have a problem with that. It'd suck, but it's a really good team.
Yeah.
Let's finish your bracket. Let's finish your bracket because it was
All right.
different than mine. So, in your scenario, what you had different, you have Toronto, Edmonton playing against each other. You have Colorado and Vegas. You
Yeah.
have Tampa Bay and Carolina,
Yep.
and you have Pittsburgh and Boston. So let's start with Toronto, Edmonton. What's your series looking like?
I'm not even thinking about this one. I think Toronto finishes it off in 5. I think they're going to finish it earlier than they do the Habs. They'll just smoke them. I think Edmonton's goaltending, they're going to be depleted after a long series with Winnipeg, and Toronto will smoke them. They'll get one game because of McDavid and Draisaitl. Next, I got Colorado versus Vegas. I got to go with Vegas here. Even though they dropped their first game against Minnesota, I think Vegas's goalies, Fleury with a combo of Leonard, are going to stand on their heads. And I think Colorado, it's going to be a rough series, 7 games for sure. But I think Colorado is just going to come up a bit short. I got Vegas going through. On the other side, Pittsburgh versus Boston. I'm going to go Pittsburgh. I think Pittsburgh's just going to roll through it. I think Boston, Washington, that's going to be a tough series, but I got to go with Pittsburgh. My gut, Getzel, I think Malkin's going to be back healthy by that round, and they're going to go through. I got them hitting it up against, I'm going to go Carolina. Have to go Carolina here. I know I'm picking the number ones, but I think Carolina, they're one of the hottest, youngest, brightest, shining stars in the league this year. I got to go with Carolina on this one. So that leaves me with Pittsburgh, Vegas, Carolina, and Toronto. So Toronto plays Vegas. Yep. Pittsburgh and Carolina play each other, right? Is that right?
Yeah. So our scenarios are actually rather similar. Either way, we're playing against Colorado or Vegas in both of our scenarios.
Yeah,
and we both have Carolina playing Pittsburgh.
Yeah, but I'm going to switch it. I'm going to say the Leafs beat Vegas, and they're going to the Stanley Cup Final. They're going to beat Vegas because they're going to. I think they're going to beat them somehow. They're going to pull it together. I think Campbell at this point, if the Leafs have made it this far, Campbell solidified himself as probably a top 3 or 4 goalie in the playoffs. He's got to be hot as iron, hot iron. But I think the Leafs go to the finals against Pittsburgh. Pittsburgh beats them.
Ooh, Pittsburgh wins the cup against Toronto, huh?
Yeah, Pittsburgh's going to win the cup this year. Actually, I don't know about that. I don't know. I question all my predictions now. I don't know. It's so hard to predict.
There's so many possibilities. Where, like, you can't count out teams like, and you might think it sounds crazy, but you can't count out Montreal. You can't count out Nashville or Minnesota. They have a series lead right now. The Islanders. You can't count these teams out. There's so many possibilities, and it works out in the Maple Leafs' favor if the teams that are lower seeded than the Maple Leafs are, so under the 6 seeds, 7 and under, it works out better if those teams advance for Toronto.
One thing I was wondering too, and maybe Leaf fans can shed some light on this. I don't know if you have news. Are the Leafs going to be traveling back and forth in that last 2 rounds? Are they going to be going to the States? Or are the Leafs going to have to go and quarantine or not quarantine, but stay in whatever state they go to, you know?
I have no idea what's going to happen with
That's
that.
such a big question mark.
Big question mark. Like they could earlier in the season there was talks of maybe the Maple Leafs play in the Sabres arena and they play their games in the States for the playoffs. It's going to be interesting to see. The NHL has big decisions to make.
Yeah, Brian's saying that play out of Buffalo for home games. You
Yeah.
still have to cross the border though. Like, don't you think? Or you think they're just gonna stay? They're gonna stay in Buffalo the whole.
They'll stay in Buffalo. The NHL will make them stay there. They'll
Man,
stay in
that's
the
tough.
States. It is tough, but yeah, they're staying in the States for the final 2 rounds. So yeah, they'll have to stay in the States. It might be a bit of a mental disadvantage, to be honest, but no excuses. This team's a veteran team. Push through it.
If we lose, it's definitely because of that though, and we can blame the NHL.
Oh yeah, we can just say that. No, we're not gonna go down that avenue. Let's just hope that the Maple Leafs make it to the Stanley Cup Finals.
Yeah, I mean, so wait, so if they play in Buffalo, is there going to be fans in the stadium? I guess we don't know.
Could be.
Like there's going to be Leaf fans. If there's fans, well, there will be in the final games in the States. There's going to be Leaf fans showing up. I'd love to see some Leaf fans in the stands.
I don't see many. I just know that it's the thing in Buffalo that a lot of the Sabres fan base despises the Leafs fan base because we invade and all the season ticket holders sell their tickets to us. So they
For
get
ridiculous
really
prices and
yeah. I mean, the prices for games in Buffalo versus Toronto, it's not really a comparison.
oh yeah, no, I'm with you on that one.
It's close. Fans from Toronto would travel to Buffalo, our second home barn. If the border opens up, yeah.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah,
whatever. It's a bunch of what ifs.
I don't see that happening before the playoffs, but I'm not in the Canadian government, so
Yeah, we don't know what's going on.
we don't. But let's look at the bracket again here. Just what team do you think is your sleeper team to make a run? So,
Yeah, that's a good question. Sleeper. So when we're defining sleeper, we're saying higher seed or just in general, no one expects them to go that far.
yeah, like no one expects them to go that far.
Okay. I'm gonna say Boston. I'm gonna say somehow if Boston can get past Washington, they're probably gonna have a pretty good shot at getting past Pittsburgh because they're both like insanely good teams. And they'll have to gel to a certain extent. So I'm going to say Boston because then if they're playing, I think whoever wins that top half can beat Carolina. I think that Boston would beat Carolina and go all the way, but they'd have to get through those first 2 rounds. Those will be the toughest test.
See, I want to say Florida is a sleeper team, but they're the fourth seeded team in the NHL, so I can't really consider them a sleeper. Even though they're playing against the defending Stanley Cup champions, they've got a tough road, but they're not a sleeper. I want to say Pittsburgh, but they're not really a sleeper either. With Sidney Crosby, you can expect them to do good things at any time. So my sleeper team here, it's got to be the New York Islanders. The New York Islanders, if they make it past the Pittsburgh Penguins, they can gain some confidence. It hurts not having Anders Lee, but this is a shutdown type of team. They'll wear you down and push a series to 7 games. That's my sleeper. I put some thought into Minnesota as well. They're up 1-0 in their series, but I give the edge to the New York Islanders.
Yeah, I mean, you make some great points. The Islanders are built like a defensive machine. They are really good defensively. Goalie today stood on his head, so that's interesting. Anyone else got any? Jason Brooks says either Blues or Nashville. Bennett says Wild. Brian says Islanders. He agrees with you.
Blues or Nashville, those are interesting. Nashville was really hot towards the end of the season. St. Louis made a push to get in the playoffs. St. Louis isn't what they were. They're really missing Alex Pietrangelo. They're not what they were. Jordan Binnington hasn't been the same this year. Nashville, they really struggled at the beginning of the season, and I don't really have all the belief in them, but they were one of the hottest teams in the NHL for the past couple of weeks.
Yeah, they've pulled it together. I mean, great points by Brooksy. I think he's going a little bit with the past winners too. These teams know what it takes. At least a lot of them on those teams. So, yeah, it'll be interesting to see for sure.
Definitely. What are the chances we make the second round? Because I know that we lost to Boston. I think we have good chances of making it to the second round. We got beat the Montreal Canadiens, and I think we do that in 6 games.
Yep, I'm with you on that. We went through it earlier. I'd definitely say 6 games, hopefully quicker, but I think the Leafs are going to go through.
I do too. This is Canada's team and North Division champions, North Division title. It's nice to get the first division title since 1999, but it really
Jeez.
doesn't mean that much if you don't make it out of the North Division. You can't really be crowned the North Division Kings if you didn't make it out of the division.
Kings of nothing if we don't do anything with it.
Exactly.
What are we the kings of, you know?
Exactly. So yeah, I mean, I'm super hyped for it. There was Minnesota Wild. William Bennett says they went up 1-0 tonight over the Vegas Golden Knights. Marc-Andre Fleury was standing on his head in that game. He looks like he's primed to make a deep playoff run. It's gonna be really hard for Minnesota. They got to make it past 2 beasts. So they got to make it past Minnesota and then Colorado as long as they beat St. Louis. So that's a really hot take right there from William Bennett.
Did Cam Talbot get a shutout?
You did?
Oh my gosh, yeah. You're not going to shut out Vegas every night, though.
Yeah, they're a really good team.
That's crazy, though. Yeah, Wild are definitely a sleeper.
And same deal with the President Trophy. Doesn't mean squat if the Columbus Blue Jackets sweep you in the first round, right? That was Tampa Bay Lightning a couple years back. They won the President's Trophy, got swept by Columbus. Everyone was freaking out. That was interesting, but you can't sleep on anybody in the playoffs because it's a completely different game. It's just more physicality, and the intensity is taken up about 10 levels.
Yeah, I think NHL hockey is very hard to predict in general. I think Brian made a comment earlier about it's very dependent on the goaltending. And also some players get really streaky. And there's a lot of injuries that can happen. So there's a lot of factors where I think NHL hockey is much harder than a lot of other sports to predict. So, yeah, you're right. And on any given night, a team like the Wild could knock off Vegas. A team like Tampa from a few years ago could lose to Columbus. That's the beauty of it, though. We live for those types of games and those matchups and upsets, as long as we're not on the short end of it.
Yeah, this can be exciting. This Stanley Cup playoffs, even though the regular season's technically still going on, it's different. It's a different year, but I can't wait. I can't wait for it to all start Thursday night, Toronto, Montreal. Doesn't get much better than that.
No, so I saw a comment, and they asked, are you doing a pregame? Are you doing an after show? What are you thinking of doing for Thursday?
I'm thinking let's do post-game show Thursday and Friday. We'll be here for a post-game show. It's going to be late. I work really early Friday morning, 6 a.m. I got to be up, but
Dedication.
I'll be here. Thursday and Friday night, it's the playoffs. Let's go.
Sleep. You can sleep when you die, you know. Well, I'll have to wait.
Yeah, I guess so. I mean, yeah, I'm excited.
Yeah, Leaf fans, say how excited you are on a scale of 1 to 10. How excited are you? I'm like at 12 right now. I'm hyped. It's going to be crazy.
You're off the scale, eh?
I'm off the Richter scale, but I'm also a bit nervous. I'm nervous.
Well, this has been fun. A road Stanley Cup playoffs. We've talked about most of the potential outcomes. There's so many potential outcomes in these playoffs. So much room for upset, and not much room for error for any team. So this is going to be interesting to see what happens here.
It's going to be a battle, and we're going to, we always say we. mean, we're not going to be playing. We're not going to be playing, but we're all going into this together. And this is going to be an emotional battle, and we need to stick together on Maple Leafs media. Come together after the games, talk, whether it's good or bad. Focus on the goods, focus on the bads, but we just need to come together. The passion unites us all. Let's go.
And Rachel's right. Thanks for correcting me. The back-to-back is next week. We play Thursday and Saturday. So thanks for correcting me, Rachel. Got a bit ahead of myself there. I'm just so thrilled to see it happen. Playoff hockey.
Yeah, it's gonna be great. It's gonna be great. But
So
5 days.
So everybody, there's 23 people watching between Facebook and YouTube right now. If you haven't already, make sure you smash the like button and hit the notification bell to be notified every time new content's coming out on Maple Leafs Media. There's going to be a lot more stuff coming here in the playoffs, so you're not going to want to miss it. But right now, I'm going to do something a little different. Hot Take Hockey, he's given me a couple raids here, so I'm dropping the link to his channel in the comments section right now. Go click that and just comment Maple Leafs Media raid in the comment section on his video. Spam it. Click like. Sub.
Go Maple Leafs Media raid. I'm doing that right now.
Click the link in the comment section and say Maple Leafs Media raid in Hot Take Hockey's chat.
I'm doing it right now. Come on, everyone's got to do it. I've only seen like 3 comments in here.
Yeah,
Come on.
let's go. Let's get this raid going. It's small, but let's get it going.
William Bennett's carrying right now. Come on, people.
Let's go. Smash like, sub to
There we go,
Hot Take
Duncan.
Hockey.
Another raid. I think Hot Take's saying something. I can't hear what he's saying. Oh, he's saying thank you.
Yeah, he's got great stuff over there. So make sure you subscribe to his channel. Check it out. Thank you for watching this Road to the Stanley Cup here. So until next time, go Leafs go. Smash the like button, hit the notification bell, and we will see you post-game Thursday night. Big things coming. Go
Let's
Leafs
go. Thursday night. Go Leafs go.